As the sun peeked through the curtains of Daniel's cozy kitchen, he jumped out of bed with a sense of excitement bubbling in his chest. Today marked the beginning of his culinary challenge with Elira, the curious alien who had become his unexpected friend. He could hardly wait to whip up the perfect breakfast dish. With a determined smile, he made his way to the kitchen, the smell of fresh coffee already wafting through the air. "Today is the day!" he exclaimed to himself, grabbing a bowl and ingredients for his famous pancakes. Flour dusted the counter as he mixed the batter, humming a cheerful tune. The sound of his spatula scraping against the bowl was music to his ears. Just as he was about to pour the batter onto the sizzling pan, he heard a soft voice behind him. "Daniel, what are you making?" Elira asked, her vibrant green skin shimmering in the morning light. Her large, curious eyes scanned the kitchen, taking in the array of ingredients spread out before her. "Pancakes, a classic breakfast here on Earth. Want to help?" he offered with an inviting smile. "I would love to, but I have an idea," she said, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. "What if we combine your pancakes with something from my home planet?" Daniel raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" With a glint of mischief, Elira rummaged through her small bag, producing a shimmering, iridescent fruit. "This is a glorp fruit. It has a sweet, tangy flavor and can create interesting textures. Let's make a smoothie out of it and add it to your pancakes." "I'm all for experimenting," Daniel chuckled, his excitement growing. They quickly worked together, blending the glorp fruit with some of Daniel's pancake batter. Elira poured the mixture into a glass, her eyes wide with anticipation. "I'll call it the glorp smoothie." As Daniel flipped the pancakes, the kitchen filled with the tantalizing aroma of vanilla and butter. The pancakes were fluffy and golden, a perfect canvas for their unique creation. Elira poured the glorp smoothie over the pancakes, creating a vibrant, colorful dish that looked almost too beautiful to eat. "Okay, moment of truth," she said, her voice tinged with excitement. They both took a bite, and the flavors exploded in their mouths. The sweetness of the pancakes mingled with the tartness of the glorp fruit, creating a taste that was both familiar and otherworldly. "Wow, this is interesting," Daniel said, his eyebrows raised in surprise. "It's like a party in my mouth." Elira giggled, her laughter ringing like music. "I didn't expect it to be so good, but maybe we should add some bacon next time for a savory twist." "Bacon? That's a classic," Daniel laughed, shaking his head in disbelief. "But I have to warn you, it might be a bit different from what you're used to." "Different is good. I want to try everything," Elira declared with an infectious enthusiasm. "Let's make tomorrow's breakfast even more adventurous." After sharing a hearty laugh over their culinary creation, they began brainstorming ideas for the next day. "How about trying a traditional breakfast from my planet?" Elira suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Is it anything like pancakes?" Daniel asked, still intrigued by the idea of exploring alien cuisine. "It's called a zorflan frit, and it's made with a fluffy, light grain that expands when cooked. It's served with a sauce made from the gleep flour," Elira explained, her hands animatedly mimicking the cooking process. "A zorflan frit? Sounds amazing. I'm in," Daniel replied, already picturing the culinary adventure that awaited them. The two friends, bonded by laughter and a shared love for food, felt the thrill of discovery as they embarked on their next breakfast challenge, ready to explore the flavors of their worlds together. Elira buzzed with excitement as she meticulously planned the upcoming feast, her eyes sparkling with the anticipation of introducing her friends to Earth's culinary delights. She floated around Daniel's kitchen, her translucent blue skin shimmering under the warm light as she jotted down names on a notepad. "Let's see. Glorax from Zinther, Mila from Quarian, and definitely Ector from Zorba 9, she exclaimed, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. Daniel watched her with amusement, leaning against the counter, a spatula in one hand. "Are you sure they'll enjoy Earth food? What if they think a hot dog is some sort of Earth creature?" he teased, raising an eyebrow. Elira chuckled, her laughter musical and light. "Then I will simply explain. How hard can it be? She waved her hand dismissively, her confidence unwavering. I'll just say it's a long meat tube, filled with flavor. Right, because that sounds way more appetizing, Daniel replied, rolling his eyes playfully. You might want to work on your marketing skills. As they prepared for the party, Alira's determination to make the event a success was palpable. She moved around the kitchen with purpose, gathering ingredients. I will also make my Quarian crunch for dessert. It's a delightful mix of crushed starlight and... She paused, searching for the right words. Sweetened moon dust. Moon dust, Daniel asked, raising an eyebrow. Isn't that just powdered sugar? Maybe, Alira admitted with a smirk, but mine has a special intergalactic twist. Just then, Daniel received a text from a friend asking about the party. He glanced at Alira, who was still lost in her culinary dreams. You might want to explain all this to the guests beforehand. Otherwise, we might end up with confused humans and bewildered aliens. Alira nodded, her brow furrowing in concentration. I will prepare a presentation, something simple that explains each dish. But first, let me try to explain this hot dog to my friends. Daniel chuckled, shaking his head. Good luck with that. Just try to avoid using the words tube or flesh. Later in the afternoon, as the party drew near, Alira eagerly called her friends via hologram. Greetings. I am preparing a feast of Earth cuisine for you, she announced with enthusiasm. Earth cuisine. Glorax's voice crackled through the screen, his green skin glimmering in the light. What is a hot dog? Ah, yes. A hot dog is a long meat tube filled with flavor. It is served in a bun, which is like a soft bread case. Alira explained, her excitement evident. Meat tube. Mila's voice chimed in, sounding perplexed. You mean like a creature? No, it is not a creature, Alira said quickly, waving her hands in the air. It is food. You will love it, and there will be many other dishes. As Alira struggled to convey the concept of a hot dog, Daniel stood nearby, stifling his laughter. I think you might need to do some serious damage control when they arrive, he whispered to her. Why? It sounds delicious, she insisted, though her confidence was fading a bit. On the day of the feast, the kitchen buzzed with excitement and a hint of nervousness. Alira and Daniel had worked tirelessly, each preparing their respective dishes. The aroma of spices and tantalizing flavors filled the air, creating an inviting atmosphere. As the guests arrived, Daniel greeted them with a warm smile. Welcome, everyone. Today, we're celebrating a fusion of flavors from Earth and beyond. The guests exchanged curious glances, their eyes darting to the array of dishes laid out before them. Alira stood beside Daniel, her hands clenching nervously. Please, try the hot dog first. It is a delicacy, she urged, her voice a mix of pride and apprehension. As the guests took their first bites, Alira's heart raced. Some expressions were uncertain, others intrigued. What is this? Hector asked, his eyes wide as he chewed. It is a hot dog, but not just any hot dog. It has a special Earth flavor. Daniel chimed in, eager to support Alira's introduction. After a moment of hesitation, Glorax smiled. It's surprisingly good. A bit chewy, but I like it. Good. Yes, Alira exclaimed, her relief palpable. And next, we have my Quarian crunch. With the guests finally starting to engage and enjoy the food, Daniel and Alira exchanged glances filled with excitement. Alira leaned closer to Daniel, her eyes sparkling. Maybe this is going to work after all, she whispered, her confidence returning. Absolutely. Just wait until they see the other dishes, Daniel replied, his smile widening. The room filled with laughter, chatter, and the delightful sounds of exploration, as the two friends realized that their culinary journey was just beginning. As sunbeams streamed through the window, casting a warm glow over the small kitchen where Daniel and Alira were preparing for their next culinary adventure. Daniel, a passionate young chef, had become accustomed to Alira's otherworldly perspective on food. Today, however, they would embark on a new exploration. Fast food. Are you ready for this? Daniel asked, grinning widely as he slid on his sneakers. You've been so curious about fast food, and I think it's time you experienced it firsthand. Alira tilted her head, her large, curious eyes sparkling with excitement. What is this fast food you speak of? Is it really food, or just a concept? She adjusted her colorful attire, a blend of fabrics that shimmered like starlight. It's both, I guess. It's food that's quick to prepare and eat. It's not the healthiest option, but it's a classic part of human culture, Daniel explained, his enthusiasm infectious. As they stepped outside, Alira looked around in wonder. The small town bustled with life, but her attention was drawn to the neon lights of a nearby fast food restaurant. That place looks interesting, she remarked, squinting at the vibrant colors. Trust me, it's a staple, Daniel replied, leading her toward the entrance. They pushed the door open and were immediately greeted by the sounds of sizzling fryers and the delicious aroma of fried food. Welcome to the best burger joint in town, the cheerful cashier said, a broad smile on her face. Daniel stepped up to place their order, while Alira observed everything with keen interest. What will you have? Daniel asked, glancing back at her. What is a burger? Alira inquired, her head tilting slightly as she tried to comprehend the array of options on the menu. It's a sandwich with a cooked patty, usually made from beef, but there are many variations, he explained, pointing at the menu. You can add cheese, lettuce, tomato, and all sorts of toppings. Alira nodded, trying to process this. I see. And what is that fried potato thing? She asked, pointing to the fries. Those are French fries, Daniel chuckled. You dip them in ketchup. You'll love it. After ordering their meals, they found a booth by the window. Alira watched intently as Daniel opened the paper wrapping of his burger, the aroma wafting towards her, tantalizing her senses. Why do humans choose to eat this way? It seems inefficient. Alira pondered, her brow furrowing. Why not prepare a nourishing meal that takes longer but is healthier? Daniel took a bite of his burger, savoring the flavors. It's all about convenience. Sometimes we're just busy and want something quick. But you're right. It's not the healthiest choice. We all have our guilty pleasures, he replied, wiping a bit of ketchup from the corner of his mouth. Curiosity sparked in Alira's eyes. Can I try it? She asked eagerly. Of course. Daniel handed her a small piece of his burger. She examined it with fascination before taking a cautious bite. Her eyes widened in surprise as the flavors exploded in her mouth. It's remarkable, she exclaimed, her voice rising with excitement. The combination of textures and flavors is unlike anything I've tasted. But why is it so greasy? Ah, that's part of the charm, Daniel laughed. Grease adds flavor, but I can see you're ready to create your own version of a burger. Inspired by the experience, Alira began to imagine an intergalactic twist. What if I combine this burger with ingredients from my home planet? I could create a dish that transcends worlds, she said, her enthusiasm contagious. Now that sounds like a plan, Daniel replied, his mind racing with possibilities. What would you use? I have a protein from my planet that changes flavors based on temperature. Coupled with your Earth ingredients, we could make something extraordinary. Alira's excitement was palpable, her eyes alight with inspiration. After finishing their meal, Alira felt a surge of creativity. Let's go back to your kitchen and experiment, she declared. Absolutely. Let's see what kind of intergalactic fast food we can create. Daniel agreed, his heart racing at the thought of their next culinary adventure. As they left the fast food restaurant, Alira's mind buzzed with ideas, ready to blend the best of both worlds into a dish that would surely surprise Daniel, and perhaps even the universe. Daniel and Alira stood side by side in the bustling kitchen of the local community center, the air thick with anticipation and the scent of fresh ingredients. It was the day of the annual culinary contest, and they had decided to team up to showcase their unique intergalactic fusion cuisine. The challenge was daunting, but the thought of presenting their culinary creations together filled them with excitement. "Are you ready for this, Alira?" Daniel asked, glancing at his alien friend, who was busy examining a bowl of peculiar-looking vegetables that had arrived from another planet. They were vibrant shades of blue and green, pulsating gently as if they had a life of their own. "More than ready, Daniel," Alira replied, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I've been practicing my dish for weeks. I think it will surprise everyone." Daniel smiled, feeling a mix of pride and apprehension. Although he admired Alira's creativity, he was still unsure about how the judges would react to an extraterrestrial dish. "Just remember, we want to impress them. Maybe we should stick to something a little more familiar?" he suggested, eyeing the shimmering vegetables warily. Alira tilted her head, her antennae twitching with curiosity. "But what if they love the unexpected? Food is about adventure, just like our friendship." She picked up one of the pulsating vegetables and held it out to him. "Try it." He hesitated for a moment, then took the vegetable from her hand. As he bit into it, a burst of flavor exploded in his mouth, a strange yet delightful combination of sweetness and spice. Okay, you win. Let's go for it." He laughed, the tension easing between them. They began to prepare their dishes, chopping, mixing, and sautéing with fervor. Alira's dish, a colorful salad that included the alien vegetables, was meant to be a refreshing contrast to Daniel's hearty earth-inspired stew. As they worked, they shared stories about their culinary backgrounds, each learning more about the other's culture. "On my planet, we have a special ingredient called Sci-Fi, which can change flavors depending on how you cook it," Alira explained, her hands moving gracefully as she prepared her salad. "It can taste like chocolate one moment and like a spicy pepper the next." "Wow, that sounds incredible. What if we mixed it into the stew?" Daniel suggested, his curiosity piqued. "It might add a whole new dimension to our dish." "Let's do it," Alira exclaimed, her voice ringing with excitement. They quickly adapted their recipe, incorporating the Sci-Fi into the stew. As the mixture simmered, an intoxicating aroma wafted through the kitchen, drawing the attention of other contestants. "Are you two ready for the judges?" a fellow contestant asked, a hint of skepticism in his voice. "You know they're not used to unusual flavors." Daniel straightened his back, trying to project confidence. "We're ready. We're bringing something special to the table." As the competition wore on, Daniel and Alira encountered unexpected challenges. Just as they were about to plate their dishes, a sudden commotion erupted nearby. A group of contestants struggled to contain an ingredient that had somehow escaped its container, a gelatinous blob that wiggled and squirmed like it was alive. "What is that?" Alira asked, her eyes wide with both fear and fascination. "It's supposed to be a dessert ingredient, but it looks like it has a mind of its own," Daniel replied, trying to stifle a laugh. They watched as the contestants chased the blob around the kitchen, slipping and sliding in a humorous display of chaos. "Maybe we should add a little of that to our dish," Alira joked, her laughter infectious. With the chaos subsiding, they finally plated their creations. The vibrant salad glistened under the kitchen lights, while Daniel's stew, rich and aromatic, filled the air with warmth. As they stood before the judges, Daniel felt a flicker of doubt. Would the mix of flavors be accepted? "Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you our intergalactic fusion dish," Daniel said, his voice steady despite the butterflies in his stomach. "A Sci-Fi-infused beef stew paired with a salad of alien vegetables." The judges exchanged curious glances, their forks hovering above the plates. Alira leaned closer to Daniel, her excitement mirrored in his own apprehension. "Whatever happens, we did this together," she whispered. As the first judges took their bites, silence enveloped the room. Daniel held his breath, his heart racing. Would they appreciate the fusion of their worlds? The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the small town where Daniel and Alira had formed their unique bond. However, as the day of the culinary contest approached, tension hung heavy in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife. Daniel paced nervously in his kitchen, the aroma of fresh ingredients doing little to calm his racing heart. "I just don't know, Alira," he muttered, glancing at his alien friend who was busy examining a strange, squirming ingredient from her home planet. It was a vibrant, pulsating orb that seemed to have a life of its own. "What if the judges don't like my cooking? What if they think your food is too alien?" Alira paused, her wide, curious eyes locking onto Daniel's. "But that is the beauty of it, Daniel. We combine our worlds, your earthling flavors with my intergalactic ingredients. It is a celebration, not just a contest." Daniel sighed, running a hand through his tousled hair. "I get that, but what if they don't appreciate it? What if they laugh at us? I mean, who wants to eat something that wriggles?" "You worry too much," Alira said with a soft laugh, her voice melodic and soothing. "This wriggling ingredient is full of nutrients. It will add texture like you've never experienced before." "But what if it gives one of the judges a reaction?" Daniel countered, his voice rising slightly. "What if they're allergic or something? I can't risk that. I just wanted to impress everyone." "Impress them with what? Something boring?" Alira shot back, her smile fading. "I thought we were in this together. You are letting your fears overshadow our creativity." The tension between them simmered, a palpable wave of unspoken frustrations washing over the kitchen. Daniel's shoulders slumped as he turned away, feeling the weight of Alira's disappointment. I don't want to fail. This means a lot to me." Alira stepped closer, her expression softening. "And it means a lot to me too. I want to show my world through food, and I want to do it with you. But if you don't believe in what we create together, then how can we succeed?" Daniel hesitated, guilt gnawing at him. I know. He paused, taking a deep breath. "I'm scared that I'll let you down. You came all this way to learn about Earth cuisine, and what if I mess it up? Then we learn from it," Alira replied, her enthusiasm reigniting. "This is not just about winning. It's about sharing our cultures, our stories. We can't let fear stand in the way of that." He looked at her, the determination in her eyes slowly melting away his apprehension. "You're right. I shouldn't be so worried about impressing people. We should have fun with this." The conversation shifted as they worked side by side, but the unspoken rift lingered beneath the surface. The day of the contest loomed closer, and Daniel found himself retreating into his shell, struggling with feelings of inadequacy. Meanwhile, Alira, feeling increasingly excluded from the culinary world she had come to admire, sought solace in her preparations, creating a dish that was deeply personal to her. On the day of the contest, Alira unveiled her creation. A vibrant, swirling dish that resembled a nebula, complete with the squirming orb delicately placed atop. "This is inspired by my home planet," she said, her voice filled with pride. "I thought maybe it would resonate with you too." Daniel's eyes widened, but he hesitated. "I don't know, Alira. What if they think it's too much? What if they don't?" Alira shot back, frustration creeping back into her tone. "You're still holding back. Why can't you just trust me?" "I want to. I really do," he exclaimed, his emotions spilling over. "But what if it's too different? What if they don't get it?" "Then let them not get it." Alira's voice was firm, but her eyes shimmered with hurt. "You don't trust me, do you? This is who I am, Daniel. Why can't you embrace it?" Daniel felt the sting of her words as they hung in the air, heavy and laced with disappointment. I feel like I'm not good enough," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Alira stepped back, hurt flashing across her face as she realized the depth of his insecurity. "You are enough, Daniel, but you need to believe it, or this partnership won't work." The silence that followed was thick, each lost in their thoughts, the chasm of misunderstanding widening between them. On a quiet evening in the small town, Daniel sat alone at his kitchen table, surrounded by the remnants of his culinary endeavors. The warm glow of the table lamp cast soft shadows across the room, and the faint smell of vanilla from the failed pancake experiment still lingered in the air. He stared down at a plate of untouched food, his mind a whirlwind of doubt and insecurity. I can't believe I messed everything up with Alira, he muttered to himself, picking at a stray blueberry on his plate. What was I thinking? I should have trusted her. We were supposed to create something amazing together. The weight of his disappointment pressed heavily on his chest, and he sighed deeply, remembering their earlier arguments. Just then, a soft knock echoed from the door, barely audible over the quiet hum of the kitchen. Daniel hesitated, unsure if he wanted to face anyone, especially after the rift that had formed between him and Alira. But curiosity got the better of him. He stood up and opened the door, revealing Alira standing there, her vibrant green skin shimmering under the porch light. "Hi, Daniel," she said, her voice soft but steady. "Can I come in?" Sure," he replied, stepping aside to let her in. The tension in the air was palpable, both of them acutely aware of the distance that had grown between them. I wrote you a letter," Alira said, nervously twisting the ends of her long hair. She reached into her satchel and pulled out a neatly folded piece of paper. "I wanted to tell you how much our friendship means to me." Daniel felt a flicker of warmth in his heart despite the unease that lingered. "A letter? You didn't have to do that. We've been through a lot, and He hesitated, searching for the right words. "I just don't know if I can do this without you." Alira smiled gently, her eyes reflecting a mix of hope and sadness. "That's exactly it. You don't have to do it alone, Daniel. I've learned so much from you about human food and cooking. You bring a creativity to the kitchen that I admire, and I want to share my culture with you, not just as a culinary experiment, but as a celebration of our friendship." Daniel took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her words settle in. "I do want to celebrate our friendship. I got scared. I thought if I didn't present something normal enough, you'd be disappointed." Alira nodded, understanding flickering across her face. "I was scared too. My food is different, but it's part of who I am. I thought you might not want to be associated with it, but I realize now that it's not just about the food. It's about us. I appreciate your willingness to try new things, Daniel." As she spoke, Alira unfolded the letter and began to read aloud. "Dear Daniel, I'm grateful for every moment we've shared in the kitchen. You've shown me the joy of human cuisine, and I hope to share my world with you too. Our differences make our creations unique, and I believe we can create something extraordinary together. I miss our laughter and the way we used to explore flavors." Tears pricked at the corners of Daniel's eyes as he listened, feeling a wave of guilt wash over him. "I miss that too, Alira. I really do. I've been so caught up in my insecurities that I forgot why we started this journey together in the first place. Let's not let our fears hold us back anymore," Alira suggested, her expression brightening. "We can create a dish that truly represents both of us. I want to blend our cultures, not separate them." Daniel felt a spark of excitement ignite within him. "You're right. We can make something amazing together, something that tells our story." Alira beamed, her enthusiasm contagious. "Yes, let's do it. We can meet tomorrow and start brainstorming. I have some new ideas for a dish that combines elements from my planet with your recipes." "I'm in," Daniel said, a genuine smile breaking through the shadows of doubt that had clouded his heart. "Thanks for being patient with me, Alira." As they stood together in the kitchen, a sense of renewed hope filled the space. They both knew that their friendship was stronger than the misunderstandings and fears that had threatened to pull them apart. And as Alira turned to leave, Daniel felt a sense of gratitude wash over him. They were not just two cooks from different worlds. They were friends who had found a way to bridge the gap with the universal language of food. The day of the contest arrived with a buzz of excitement in the air. Daniel and Alira stood backstage, the aroma of various dishes wafting through the space, mingling with the nervous energy that surrounded them. The bright lights of the stage illuminated the area, casting a warm glow on the competition that awaited them. Daniel glanced at Alira, who was adjusting her apron, her eyes sparkling with a mix of determination and anticipation. "Are you ready for this?" Daniel asked, trying to mask his own jitters with a confident smile. "I have never been more ready," Alira replied, her voice steady. "Today, We will show them the beauty of our cultures combined. Daniel nodded, but a flicker of doubt crept into his mind. What if the judges didn't appreciate their fusion of flavors? What if they found it too strange? He shook his head, trying to dispel the negative thoughts. Let's just focus on what we've created together, he said, attempting to reassure himself. As they stepped onto the stage, the bright lights blinded them momentarily, but as their eyes adjusted, they could see the audience filled with eager faces. The judges sat at a long table, their pens poised, ready to score. Alira glanced at Daniel, her enthusiasm contagious. Remember, we're sharing a story, not just a dish, right? Daniel replied, taking a deep breath. Let's do this. They moved to their cooking station, where the ingredients they had carefully selected lay before them: vibrant vegetables, exotic spices from Alira's planet, and fresh herbs from Daniel's garden. We are making the cosmic fusion delight, Alira announced, her voice ringing out clearly. A blend of my planet's savory roots and your earthly flavors. Daniel started to sauté the vegetables while Alira prepared the alien spices, her agile hands moving with grace. You know, she said, glancing up at him, I've learned so much about Earth food because of you. I never knew how delightful these flavors could be. I feel the same, Daniel admitted, stirring the pan. You've opened my eyes to a whole new world of tastes. It's exciting to think about how our dishes can tell a story. As they continued to cook, the audience watched intently, captivated by their synergy. The sizzling sounds of the pan harmonized with the chatter in the room, and Daniel could feel the energy shifting as the aroma of their dish began to fill the air. Now for the final touch, Alira said, pulling out a small vial of shimmering liquid. This is a sauce from my home planet. It's a blend of sweet and spicy, and it will elevate our dish to another dimension. Are you sure about this? Daniel asked, hesitating. What if it overpowers the other flavors? Alira smiled, her confidence unwavering. Trust me, our dish needs this balance. It will be perfect. With a nod, Daniel poured the sauce into the mix, watching as it transformed the colors of the ingredients, creating a mesmerizing swirl. The judges' eyes widened as the enticing scent enveloped the stage. Time's almost up, a voice called from the side. Let's plate it, Daniel urged, his heart racing. They carefully arranged the dish, layering the vibrant colors and textures. Alira added a sprinkle of alien herbs on top, and they stepped back, admiring their creation. Ready? Alira asked, her eyes gleaming. Ready? Daniel replied, feeling a surge of adrenaline as they presented the dish to the judges. This, Alira announced, is our cosmic fusion delight, a harmony of Earth and my home planet's flavors. The judges leaned in, their forks poised. Daniel held his breath as they took their first bites. He watched closely, his heart pounding. One of the judges, a stern-looking woman with glasses, looked up with surprise. This is extraordinary, she exclaimed, her voice filled with genuine excitement. The flavors danced together beautifully. Another judge, a jovial man with a wide grin, nodded enthusiastically. I've never tasted anything like this. The sweetness and the spice complement each other perfectly. With each positive reaction, Daniel felt his confidence swell. Alira beamed beside him, her joy infectious. They exchanged glances, both realizing that they had successfully bridged their worlds through food. See, I told you we could do it, Alira whispered, her excitement palpable. Yeah, we did, Daniel replied, a smile breaking across his face as they shared this moment of triumph together. The applause began to rise, echoing in the auditorium, and for the first time, Daniel felt a deep sense of pride in their work. Together, they had created something truly special. As the sun began to set over the small town, casting a warm golden hue across the sky, Daniel and Alira stood backstage, their hearts racing with anticipation. The aroma of various dishes wafted through the air, mingling with the excitement of the crowd gathered in the open space. Today was the day of the culinary contest, and they had just finished presenting their dish, a colorful fusion of Earth and alien flavors that had left the audience in awe. Do you think they liked it? Daniel asked, his voice barely above a whisper, his eyes darting toward the judges seated at the front. Each of them was engaged in a serious discussion, their brows furrowed in concentration. "I believe so," Alira replied, her antennae twitching slightly with excitement. The way they reacted when they tasted it, I could sense their joy. She smiled, a spark of confidence lighting up her features. "And you were amazing up there. Your stories about Earth were captivating." Daniel chuckled nervously. "Yeah, but I was a little worried when I saw the judge grimace at the thought of our worm-infused pasta. It's just a protein source from my planet, but I guess it looks strange to them." He ran a hand through his hair, anxiety creeping back in. "Strange can be good, Daniel," Alira reassured him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Remember what we talked about? Cooking is about exploration and embracing differences. We brought our worlds together, and that's what matters." As they waited for the judges to deliberate, the two friends reflected on their journey. They had come so far from their first awkward attempts at cooking together, learning to blend their culinary traditions. The laughter, the mistakes, and even the arguments had only strengthened their bond. "Hey, remember when I tried to make those hot dogs for the party?" Daniel burst out laughing. "I had no idea you were talking about actual dogs, and you kept insisting they were a delicacy." Alira joined in the laughter, her eyes sparkling. "And you were horrified when I brought out that tentacled dish. I thought it would impress everyone." "Impress or scare them away?" Daniel teased, shaking his head. "But we've come a long way since then. I wouldn't trade this experience for anything." Just then, a hush fell over the crowd as the head judge approached the microphone, clearing his throat. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Even the children in the audience were momentarily silent, eyes wide with curiosity. "Ladies and gentlemen," the judge began, his voice booming across the venue. "We've had an extraordinary array of dishes presented today, showcasing not just culinary skills but a celebration of culture and creativity." He paused, glancing at Daniel and Alira, who held their breath in unison. But there was one dish that stood out among the rest, a perfect blend of flavors from both Earth and beyond. Daniel squeezed Alira's hand nervously, his heart pounding. "What if it's not us?" he whispered, fear creeping into his expression. "Shoo, listen," Alira urged, her eyes fixed on the judge. "Without further ado, the winner of this year's culinary contest is Daniel and Alira," the judge announced, his voice bursting with enthusiasm. A wave of shock washed over them, quickly replaced by pure elation. The crowd erupted into cheers and applause, and Daniel's face broke into a wide grin as he turned to Alira. "We did it! We actually did it!" Alira jumped up and down, her excitement palpable. "I knew we could. Our flavors, our friendship. It all made it possible." She pulled him into a tight embrace, the thrill of victory enveloping them. As they made their way to the stage to accept their award, Daniel felt a sense of pride swell within him. This moment was not just about winning. It was a testament to their journey, their friendship, and the beauty of blending worlds through food. "Thank you, everyone," Alira exclaimed as they stood before the crowd, holding their trophy high. "This is a celebration of our cultures, and we look forward to sharing even more flavors with you." Daniel nodded, his heart full. "And let this be a reminder that food has the power to unite us, no matter where we come from." The applause grew louder, and in that moment, they knew they had created something truly special. Not just a winning dish, but a deep connection that would last a lifetime. The night was theirs, and the future seemed brighter than ever. After their triumphant win at the local culinary contest, Daniel and Alira found themselves buzzing with excitement and inspiration. The sun shone brightly in the small town, casting a warm glow over the sidewalk as they walked side by side, their minds racing with ideas. "What if we opened a restaurant?" Daniel suggested, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "We could serve our fusion dishes, the ones we've been experimenting with. It could be a place where people experience the best of both worlds." Alira's antennas perked up at the idea. "A restaurant? That sounds delightful." We could create a menu that celebrates the diversity of flavors from your planet and mine. Imagine the possibilities. She twirled around, her excitement contagious. We could call it Galactic Bites or Interstellar Flavors. Galactic Bites has a nice ring to it, Daniel agreed, nodding thoughtfully. But we should also think about the decor. It needs to reflect both Earth and your home planet. Maybe we could hang some of your planet's herbs and spices in jars along the walls. Excellent idea, Alira exclaimed, her eyes gleaming with creativity. And we could use bioluminescent plants for lighting. They glow softly, creating an inviting atmosphere. I can gather some seeds from my home and experiment with them. As they walked towards the town's central square, Daniel's mind wandered to the logistics. But we'll need a space first. Do you think we can find a place that suits our needs? I believe so. There's that old diner on the corner. It's been vacant for ages, Alira said, pointing. It has a charming retro design, and we could easily transform it into something extraordinary. I've always loved that diner, Daniel said, feeling a surge of nostalgia. I had my first job there flipping burgers. It would be perfect if we could bring it back to life with our culinary creativity. Later that day, they approached the diner, its windows dusty and the sign hanging slightly askew. Alira examined the building with awe. It looks like it has stories to tell, she remarked. So much potential. Let's take a look inside, Daniel suggested, pushing the creaky door open. Inside, the faded booths and checkered floor spoke of a time long past. Dust danced in the sunlight streaming through the windows. We'll need to clean it up first, but I can already envision it. Alira waved her hand, and a small orb of light appeared, illuminating the corners of the diner. We can start here, she said, giggling as she watched Daniel's surprised expression. Wow, that's amazing, Daniel laughed, shaking his head in disbelief. I can't wait to see what else you can do. As days turned into weeks, Daniel and Alira poured their hearts and souls into transforming the diner into Galactic Bites. They painted the walls in vibrant colors, one side reflecting Earth's greens and blues, and the other adorned with alien-inspired patterns and hues. The bioluminescent plants Alira had cultivated added a magical touch, illuminating the space with a soft glow. One afternoon, as they prepared to finalize their menu, Daniel said, "We need to make sure to highlight our signature dishes. The cosmic pancakes and your nebula noodles should definitely be at the forefront." Alira nodded enthusiastically. "And don't forget about the intergalactic smoothie we created together. It's a perfect representation of our collaboration." Speaking of collaboration, what do you think about hosting a monthly event? Daniel proposed, his mind racing with excitement. We could call it Flavors of the Universe, and invite people to bring their own dishes inspired by different cultures. It could be a celebration of diversity. Alira clapped her hands in delight. I love that idea. We could encourage our customers to share their own culinary stories. It will bring everyone together and showcase the beauty of food. As they finalized the menu and set a date for their grand opening, Daniel looked at Alira, a sense of warmth in his heart. I never imagined we'd come this far. You've brought so much joy and creativity into my life, and you have shown me the magic of Earth's flavors. Alira replied, her voice softening. Together, we are creating something truly special. With their dreams taking shape and their friendship deepening, Daniel and Alira were ready to embark on their culinary adventure, eager to share their love for food with the world. As the evening festivities unfolded at their newly opened restaurant, the warm glow of fairy lights twinkled overhead, casting a cozy ambience over the eclectic mix of earthly and intergalactic patrons. The aroma of sizzling spices and sweet desserts mingled in the air, creating a tantalizing atmosphere that enveloped Daniel and Alira as they moved between tables, chatting with guests and serving up their latest culinary creations. Laughter echoed throughout the space, a symphony of joy that reflected their journey together. Suddenly, the door swung open with a soft chime, and a figure stepped in, cloaked in a long, shimmering robe that seemed to change color with every step. Daniel and Alira exchanged intrigued glances. The newcomer had an air of authority, confidence radiating from him as he surveyed the room with keen eyes. "Who's that?" Alira whispered, her curiosity piqued. "I have no idea," Daniel replied, wiping his hands on his apron. "But he looks important." As the mysterious figure approached the counter, the bustling atmosphere quieted momentarily, and all eyes turned toward him. He stopped in front of Daniel and Alira, his gaze piercing yet friendly. "Good evening," he spoke, his voice deep and melodic. "I am Chef Xyler, visiting from the planet Galder. I've been observing your culinary activities from a distance." Daniel's heart raced. "You've been watching us?" he stammered, trying to mask his surprise. "Why?" Chef Xyler smiled knowingly. "Your fusion of Earth and intergalactic flavors is unlike anything I've seen. It's innovative, bold, and speaks to the essence of culinary exploration." Alira's eyes widened in excitement. "We're just trying to share our cultures through food," she said, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. "It's been such an incredible journey." "Indeed," Xyler replied, nodding appreciatively. "And that journey has not gone unnoticed. I come with an opportunity for you both." Daniel exchanged a glance with Alira, their curiosity now fully piqued. "What kind of opportunity?" Daniel asked, barely able to contain his excitement. "Galder is hosting an intergalactic culinary festival," Chef Xyler explained, gesturing expansively with his hands. "Chefs from various worlds will showcase their talents, and I believe your unique approach would be a breath of fresh air among them. I would like to invite you to present your dishes at this prestigious event." Alira clapped her hands together in delight. "That sounds amazing. We've dreamed of sharing our food with a larger audience." Daniel's mind raced with possibilities, but a hint of apprehension clouded his thoughts. "But what if they don't like our dishes? What if they don't understand our fusion?" Xyler leaned closer, his eyes twinkling. "Trust in your creation. Food is a universal language, one that transcends cultural barriers. Remember, it's not just about pleasing everyone. It's about sharing your story, your journey. That is what will resonate with the audience." Daniel felt a surge of determination at the chef's words. "You're right," he said, straightening his posture. "We've come this far. We can't hold back now." Alira grinned widely, her excitement infectious. "We'll prepare something that represents both of our worlds. Something that tells our story." "Excellent," Chef Xyler exclaimed, his enthusiasm matching theirs. "I can already envision the impact you'll have at the festival. Imagine the flavors, the colors. It will be a spectacle." As they discussed their plans, the restaurant buzzed back to life around them. But Daniel and Alira were lost in their own world of inspiration. They brainstormed ideas, their voices merging in a symphony of creativity as they envisioned a dish that blended the vibrant spices of Alira's planet with the comfort of Earth's classic dishes. "Maybe we could use your planet's glowing vegetables as a garnish?" Daniel suggested, his mind racing with ideas. "And we could infuse them with Earth's traditional sauces," Alira added, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "It will be a fusion of flavors and colors, a true representation of our friendship." With the festival on the horizon, they both felt a renewed sense of purpose. As Chef Xyler took his leave, he turned with a final smile. "I look forward to seeing what you create. Remember, the universe is watching." As the door closed behind Xyler, Daniel and Alira stood in the warm light of their restaurant, filled with a sense of possibility. They had embarked on a journey that had brought them together, and now they were ready to take their passion for food to new heights, ready to share their story with the universe.